like, illegal immigration, guys, is not necessarily a bad thing. Illegal immigration is only a bad thing when countries just shoehorn immigration into a country without properly preparing for it. The reason why immigration sucks in a lot of countries is not because immigrants are bad. It's because there's no system set up for immigrants to prosper, so the immigrants have to rely on other things. Like, you can't just give people money and that's it, because they're not gonna do anything with their lives, you know what I mean? The problem is that a lot of immigration has no thought behind it. It's just, yo, allow people to join in our country for no reason. But immigration on its whole is not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing depending on the country that you are from, and depending on what the country is doing. For example, Mexico is a place that has a billion, like millions of immigrants, millions. And you think to yourself, oh, well, they're not Indian or they're not Mexican. Yeah, but they're like from South America, Peru, Argentina, you name it, right? They're immigrants from countries from the South that come here. And never have they ever been a problem here, besides like a couple people from Haiti, who like all they do is like steal. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can, like, sure, there's bad things in immigration. When you look at immigration, there's bad things where, like, you know, they steal or like they do bad things or crimes or whatever the hell. But that's because you don't hear the good stories of immigration, because the media fear mongers you immigration bad stories in your head all the time. So you become racist and you start hating immigrants. So then you stop thinking that it's the government's problem, but in reality it's like a race war. That's my opinion. Immigration is not bad. The problem is that a lot of immigration is just done without thinking. It's like, what if we grab a million Muslims but drop them in Germany, in Fortnite, drop them in Germany? You know what I mean? That's not gonna work. You have to find a way to introduce them to the German system. You know what I mean?
Put the slop in the bag, Unk.
Watch us. You always hear about immigrants and you always hear about immigrants doing bad things because the government wants you to keep hating immigrants so they can just listen, man. I'm telling you, bro. This is straight up from World War II, bro. At first, what you do is you constantly propagate stories about immigrants being bad, right? To turn an entire group of people against immigrants, and then after that, you can treat immigrants as not people, because then people are gonna be like, well, they're not part of our country. You know what I mean? So why would we care about them? You know what I mean? But the problem is that once you do that, it's like a little bit of a slippery slope, because once you allow a certain group of people to be eliminated from a country or taken out or whatever, it only leads just to more censorship. You know what I mean? Very rarely do governments plan to make their place better. There's not a single country that gets better because most governments suck. You know what I mean? most governments just suck ass, bro. When was the last time you read something from the government? It wasn't like, wow, these guys are a bunch of monkeys. You know what I mean? This is the most retarded thing I ever heard in a while. Please stick to entertainment. No, I'm just actually smart and I actually think for myself. I don't actually just go around and sit down and say, oh, those fucking Browns are ruining my country. Oh, I can't. Why is Mohammed living right next to my house? Dude, I don't think like that because I'm not fucking mentally challenged like you do, and I actually understand, right? I actually understand that they are purposely making you hate immigrants because that's what the government wants. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you're so fed up with the culture wars, and instead of thinking to yourself, you just be, oh, government, please feed me slop, government. You know what I mean? Half of you guys don't think for yourselves. Half of you guys just see the problem. But I just saw in the news that the immigrants are raping or kidnapping or whatever. Yeah, but everyone does that though. Like every single group of people does that, not just immigrants. You know what I mean? Every single group of people.
We know legal immigration is not bad, but we're talking about the illegal one, Chadia Boba.
Yes, but the thing is, illegal immigration, again, how do you know, like, you have to understand that illegal immigration is a lot more complicated than just putting a wall and shutting people down. You know what I mean? You guys don't fucking understand that illegal immigration is not fucking Juanito, bro, running down the fucking... Dude, most people illegally immigrate to airplanes. Like, nobody, like, that thing that you think, that thing of, like, putting a big wall and, like, controlling the gate, that doesn't work, bro. That worked maybe when, like, people were poor. Nowadays, people legally immigrate and then overstay their welcome. That's how most people illegally immigrate nowadays. You know what I mean? Anyways, we're done for our political slop for the day. Let's go check out our slop. And then after that, we gotta